Alright, something completely different now. This is Catatonia's most recent album, City Burials. What can I say about Catatonia? Man, I've been a fan of Catatonia for many, many years. I first discovered Catatonia back in 2001 when their album Last Fair Deal Gone Down was released. And I would have completely overlooked it at the time because at the time I was really just into like death metal and black metal. But a friend of mine that was working at the record store, he was like, "Have you heard of Catatonia?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Check out this record, it's fucking awesome, you're gonna love it." And I was like, "Okay, what is it?" He's just like, "Check it out, you're gonna love it." And I loved it. Obviously if you've heard Catatonia, you know they are not particularly extreme at that point in time. They were sort of alternative dark metal or something. I don't know how to describe it. It's very unique, and over the years they've always progressed on to the next thing and always done, great records. And obviously you may know that they started out as a heavy death doom band, and they're actually, pretty influential in that scene, but I don't think they ever quite got the credit. Like, it always seemed like Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, and Anathema all kind of got the big credit in the doom death genre, but Catatonia never really got the credit. I don't know why. I think it's just because all the other bands were from England and Catatonia was from Sweden. I don't know. But anyway, Catatonia has progressed and changed, and almost every single album is something different. It doesn't necessarily sound like the same band, which is very cool, but could be frustrating to some people who want, to get hooked on an album and want to hear something similar. And I had loved everything Catatonia had done up through Night is a New Day, which was a phenomenal record that came out back in, I believe, 2009. And I saw them like 4 times in that tour. I saw them 2 times here in the States, and then, 3 times here in the States. One night I saw them in Milwaukee, then I saw them in Chicago the following night, then I saw them in Finland that summer, and then I saw them later on in the year again here in Milwaukee. And that was a fantastic tour. Every show was awesome. And but after that album, they weren't bad. They just didn't really make as cool albums anymore, and it seemed like they'd sort of run out of ideas, which is understandable. I mean, these guys have been going since like 1992 or something like that, and I mean, not everyone's going to continuously make great music. So I kind of started to lose interest when that album came out. I can't remember the name of it right now, but whatever. And then another album a couple of years ago, which I didn't get into at all. I never even bought it, which was weird because I had bought everything for years from Catatonia. I had loved it. I didn't buy the last one because I had just streamed it on I think Spotify, and I was like, I don't like this. And yeah. So when City Burials was announced, I wasn't particularly interested in it. But then my girlfriend started saying, like, "Oh, I want to check out the new Catatonia album, and I want to get it on vinyl and be surprised." And I believe it came out in early April, and I had every intention of buying it back then. But all of our local record stores couldn't get in stock because I believe of the COVID-19 stuff, it wasn't getting shipped over from England, from their label Peaceville. And it wasn't until, I guess, probably maybe the 3rd week of May, I finally got my hands on this when my local record store got it in stock for me. And at that point I was kind of just like, oh, okay, cool, finally got it. But this is a strange record. It's probably one of the most mellowest Catatonia albums to date, and it's curiously the whole album was wrote by the lead singer rather than as a whole band effort. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like it's a bad thing because it seems like if the 4 other guys in the band aren't contributing anything, it's probably a sign the band's on its last breath, but who knows. But this is, there's nothing metal about this record, I don't think. I mean, very minuscule amounts of metal, but it still has that sort of classic Catatonia darkness, but it's a bit samey from track to track, and that's sort of been the thing with their past couple records here, but there wasn't enough diversity and just not enough catchiness, which I'd always loved in Catatonia. They always wrote such catchy, really memorable songs, and this too, it just kind of seems, I don't want to say it's a forced effort, but it's not great. And I mean, the vinyl itself is really cool looking. It's got nice artwork and everything, and it's just, I wish it would have been a little bit better because I paid $30 for it. But it's double vinyl, and there is a bonus track. Comes in this black vinyl, nothing different or too exciting. Lots of pictures of buildings. and all that stuff. Yeah, so, yep, that's City Burials by Catatonia. Not by any means their best record, but if you are a Catatonia fan, you could probably check it out, and if you are a Catatonia fan, you probably already have checked it out. Alright, one more vinyl to talk about. This is Canis Dirus' Independence to the Beast. This is an album I've been looking forward to for quite a while now. Canis Dirus is an atmospheric black metal neo-folk project from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they've been going since about 2010. Back around that time frame, they released 2 albums before going on hiatus when Todd Paulson, the mastermind behind the project, his son was born, and obviously when you become a parent, you have some serious priorities, and obviously it's hard to balance both a parent life and a black metal life, underground metal band, when you have all that going on. So Canis Dirus went on hiatus, but I had been friends with Todd for many years, at least through the internet. I never met him personally. But we first got to know each other back in, I believe it was 2004, when he started sending me records for promotional reviews of my old zine, Lyric Analysis, for his label God is Myth Records. And back in those days, he had a project called Uval, which was, I guess, just pretty straightforward, raw black metal. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't super great, but it was pretty cool stuff. And he also had like a post-rock project called Celestial Sea. He had a very Agalloch influence sounding project called Dormant. He had a dark ambient project called Cruel Harvest. But Canis Dirus is by far, I think, his most accomplished work to date. And what was cool about those old Canis Dirus records that came out in 2010 and 2012 was that they kind of showed, if you had followed Todd's work through the years, you could kind of see the build-up and, his songwriting and everything. It was really just cool kind of seeing the evolution. And I reviewed all those records as they came out. It was just one of those cool things, at the time. So anyway, flash forward, the last Canis Dirus record came out in like 2012. So it's been quite a while, 8 years. And Independence of the Beast is on Bindrune Recordings and just came out. It was supposed to come out, actually, couple months ago already, but due to COVID-19 stuff and the pressing plant being in, I believe it was Czechoslovakia, everything got delayed and it just was, stuck in limbo, and, it sucks. I mean, especially since I think it already got delayed by some months already due to some other issues. So, like I said, I have known Todd for many years, and when he first started telling me about this album and started writing for it, I was really interested. I was stoked to hear more because I like those old albums, and I actually have a small role in this album. I do about a 35 second intro on the Child and the Serpent, which was, for me, a huge honor. I mean, I've always had sort of mixed feelings about, associating Noctilucent with black metal. I don't know why exactly. I mean, I guess now that I think about it, there was no reason to really have a negative outlook on it, but I think it's actually something I really want to do in the future is collaborate more with black metal bands if at all possible, if they need intros or anything like that. But it was super awesome to just do this little intro for this song and to be a part of this record. And this is probably the closest my music will ever get to being released on vinyl, so that's super cool too. But so Canis Dirus plays a form of atmospheric black metal. I mean, it has some very harsh sections and more melodic characteristics and stuff like that. There's also some pure neo-folk songs on this album, which are really good, and I can only assume, that stuff is influenced by, classic, neo-folk artists like Death in June and Sol Invictus and stuff like that, and, yeah, I mean, they're really great songs. And Canis Dirus is just a duo of Todd Paulson, Rob Haynes, both from Minnesota. Really cool stuff, and if you haven't heard this project, I highly recommend it. Some of the older albums have sort of been miscategorized as being depressive, suicidal black metal, and I never really got that vibe from them, and I think it stems more from the fact that Rob uses this sort of high-pitched, shrieking black metal voice, that's sort of characteristic of that genre, but I think that, they got mislabeled it just because of that, but, this definitely is more, atmospheric folk black metal, and I mean, maybe a way of viewing this was, think about a more raw black metal version of Agalloch, and he might be close to the sound of Canis Dirus. But I've only listened to it once, but I really liked it a lot. Great stuff, and if you haven't ever had curiosity to hear me Noctilucan on vinyl, well, here's your opportunity, of course, too. Alright, if you're still here for this collection update, that's awesome, because this has gotten pretty long, and longer than I expected, but what the hell, I mean, I love doing this kind of stuff, right? So up first is Peter Andersson's Music for Film and Exhibition. This was released a couple of years ago, and Peter Andersson, of course, is the mastermind behind Rosin de Etra, Etramine, Electrine, and like 12 other projects. Obviously a legend in the dark ambient genre, and this is all of the music he has done for short films, exhibitions, and stuff like that. Stuff that, although similar to Rosin de Etra and his other projects, just he ended up basically releasing under his own name. And this turned out to be a very influential album for me, because I decided that I wanted to eventually release some music under my own name. And if you pay attention to this channel, you probably had noticed that I did some short films back during the time period that I was laid off from work, and I did original soundtracks to them. So that's sort of my eventual goal down the road, is to release a CD like this, the Joseph Melodic music for film and fucking whatever on YouTube CD or something. So totally influential for me, and I got this CD from my friend John, who lives in the hellhole known as Chicago, Illinois. And did I just say Illinois? Ooh, what's wrong with me? Yeah, one of those people. Never mind. It's a Wisconsin thing, you would understand. But here it is, and this is a 2-disc set. It has one CD, one disc full of music. The second CD is very short films, and I'm sorry, there's 3 discs. 2 discs of short films and other such weird oddities, and I remember when I put this in my DVD player, I got done watching it, and then it wouldn't eject it. And I was hitting the eject button, I was turning off the DVD, unplugging it, it would not eject the disc, and I actually got concerned. But then I remember it was late at night, and I was just like, fuck it, whatever. Then I forgot about it, and then like a week later, I was watching something on Netflix, and randomly the DVD ejected from the DVD player that was not even plugged in, which to me is very haunting and very alarming that would happen, but that's what happened, and I finally got the Natura Fluxus DVD onto my DVD player. Alright, 2 more then, and that's it. So at first we got The True Werewolf and the Devil Crisis CD. Yeah, so the True Werewolf is a project from Satanic War Master dude, who is known as Werewolf, and he is also the owner of Werewolf Records. And this is just a fantastic album of just raw black metal. And just I should say right from the get-go, my reasoning for buying this album was for the song Chi no Namida, which is basically a black metal interpretation of the Bloody Tears song from the Castlevania soundtracks from the old video games, and it's fucking cool as hell. Like, there's been a lot of like heavy metal guitar covers of like Castlevania music. In fact, there's even some Japanese CDs that came out in the early 90s called Dracula Battle, which were all like hard rock, heavy metal versions of those songs. It's super cool. Those CDs are like impossible to get. They've been out of print for almost 3 decades now, but super cool stuff. But I'm actually was surprised that when the Castlevania games had been a bigger influence in the black metal genre, because it has that dark gothic theme to it, and Castlevania games have been around since the late 80s and everything, and it just seems like a perfect influence. But to my knowledge, this is the first time Castlevania has had any has been a theme in black metal. And well, anyway, that song is fucking amazing, and but the whole album is really, really good. I mean, it is a sort of raw black metal, but just there's a lot of substance going on. There's cleverly placed keyboards, really cool riffs, really cool solos. Really memorable riffs, which I like about it. Like the last song is really stands out too, called Magic Fire. It's like a total just like punk black metal song, just really awesome, just really great stuff. And I mean, this was just super catchy record. It was when I got this in the mail. It was just in my car for like just 2 weeks straight. I did not want to listen to anything. Really great stuff though. So that's The True Werewolf and Devil Crisis. One more then. This is Druadan Forest's Dismal Spells from the Dragon Realm. And this is another project from V Chaos, the mastermind, of course, of Vargrup I talked about earlier. But this is pure dungeon synth, and this is just awesome stuff. It has a total like 90s vibe. I mean, it's definitely got its fair share of Mortis influence, but doesn't sound like a direct copy, which is like, of course, as you could probably imagine, if you follow the Dungeon synth theme, there is a lot of projects that just totally rip off Mortis, or just trying to be Mortis, and it's just like, okay, like, Mortis was really cool, and like, you can rip off Mortis all you want, but it'll never have that same magic, so, I just hope that more, obviously you probably noticed how popular Dungeon Synth has gotten over the past couple of years, and unfortunately I haven't seen, I mean, it could be that I don't pay attention enough to it fully, but it seems like there's not enough innovation within the scene. There's so much, you could do with it, and it just seems like people are still hung up on creating sounds that resemble like a demo tape from 1995, and they want to create like the old Mortis sounds, or they want to do something that's totally influenced by Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And yeah, it's all, it's cool stuff. I'm a total fucking nerd and I love it shit too, but there comes a point in time where it's, it's okay to be original and do your own thing too. And well, yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily the most original thing, but it's cool enough that it has this original flair, but it still has that sort of 90s vibe, which I really like. And there's lots of like spoken parts to it too, which again kind of, harkens back to that whole kind of Mortis thing and stuff like that. And, but it's cool stuff. There's 4 songs in here. They're all very long, all of them like in the 15 to 16 minute range. Although, curiously, every song has about 2.5 minutes of silence at each one, and I'm not sure if that was just some sort of error when I pressed the CD or if it was intended, but either way, cool stuff. And yeah, so it's Dismal Spells from the Dragon Realm by Druadan Forest. Alright, well, thanks for joining me for these collection updates. I will see you next time, and take care until then.